What I'm standing in right now is essentially my studio slash film room, even though I have another film room next door. But this is in our new house, and I haven't made a dedicated video talking about my plans for this space because I honestly wasn't too sure what I was going to do. The green screen was totally an off-the-cuff, impromptu thing. The sound damping foam, definitely wanted that. You'll see a part of the video dedicated to that installation and test. And then the lights, the way that I've mounted things in the ceiling. I'm gonna show you all of that in this video and talk about some of the issues I ran into and what I suggest you do if you want a similar studio for your YouTube or Twitch videos or whatever. I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's a unique kind of behind the scenes video, and I learned a lot doing this. I think you will watching this as well.
If you're upset about that inconsiderate Windows activation watermark plaguing your screen, snag an OEM license. SCD Key makes it simple. You have one in a few seconds for a little over $10, then click here, 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 and then here, paste your activation key, and you can kiss that watermark goodbye. And be sure to use my new offer code GSL for a 12% discount on your order. So the green screen was the first thing I wanted to tackle. I bought some thick chroma key green flat latex paint off Amazon and applied 2 coats with big help from my mom, who stepped in for Lisa while she was watching our baby. This paint is specifically designed for media applications, hence the steep price tag, around $100. That's, yeah, no slouch for paint, but worked fairly well after just 2 coats. Our walls in this new house are textured, so it was difficult to stay between the lines with our painter's tape, and some inevitably bled over. This is pretty thick latex paint, but it is a simple fix as long as you have the original paint to yeah, take care of those small imperfections. The important thing to bear in mind with green media walls like this are proper lighting, which we'll tackle in a second, and even paint distribution. If you can handle both of those, you'll be just fine. It'll ultimately at that point come down to your software. And after a couple of coats, the paint settled evenly enough. The lighting situation was next. I had several LED panels from Neewer that were on basic stands. I talked about these in my previous studio tour video, but I didn't like the cable clutter across the floor, especially with 3 or 4 of these laying around. So I mounted 2 of them to the ceiling with special arms, and this was the best choice I could have made by far. Only one side of each could be secured to a stud, but the brackets were secure enough to support the panel weights. The rest of it was just screwed into the drywall. I then wired each up via extension cables and used cable covers to keep things looking nice and tidy should it ever show up on camera. And all of this, by the way, can be found in the video description if you're interested. I do recommend at least cable managing to an extent. You don't want to have cables just kind of hanging around in your ceiling if your ceilings are not very high, especially because it's kind of an eyesore. I have already uploaded a few videos using the green screen and lighting kits by this point, so if you want a proof of concept of sorts, here you go. And apart from a few software hiccups that I'm still trying to resolve, you can see when I move my hands very fast, there's a brief gray shadow behind me, I'd say this work has already paid off. Many of you have commented about how much more immersive these videos now feel, and that was honestly the goal all along. The next thing to handle then was audio. I actually use a pretty cheap XLR shotgun mic from Amazon. It'll run on both phantom power and battery, which is nice, and when used in tandem with my Pile power supply, I find no issues with quality whatsoever, save the echo. Despite having carpeted floors and furniture packed in, I could still hear quite a bit of it in playback, so that's where a video sponsor comes in. AeroZoom, who we featured in the past on this channel, specializes in sound damping foam for various media applications, and when set up properly, it can work wonders. I decided to tackle the ceiling primarily in this room since it's fairly large and there's really nothing up there to absorb or break up sound. I talk more about it here. A while back, I hit up AeroZoom about fixing the echo problem in my college dorm room. My brother and I were sharing an apartment at the University of Louisiana, and my bedroom in particular was especially echoey. No good for YouTube videos. So in this video, we're gonna install these foam tiles to primarily the ceiling of this film room, which is where the green screen happens to be, in an effort to reduce the echo. So what the heck is foam designed to do, and why does it work the way that it does? Obviously, the goal of this kind of foam is to reduce echo. Echo is the result of certain sound waves bouncing off of objects that are pretty harsh and flat. So think of it like, I don't know, if you throw a kind of a spongy ball at a concrete surface, it's gonna bounce back up a pretty good length, not of course up to the height that it started at, unless you're applying a force to it when you're throwing it down. But think of that concrete as like a drywall, something like, you know, what's in here. If that surface is pretty flat and sturdy, then sound's gonna bounce off of it pretty aggressively, and you're gonna hear that echo, the return of that sound wave to your recording source, which in this case would be a lav mic. If you had a spongier surface, if you were throwing a ball down at a pool of Jello, then that jello would absorb a lot of that energy and the ball would not bounce back up as high. Sound behaves in a similar way. So foam like this is going to absorb a lot of that sound and not allow as much of it to bounce back into the environment to ultimately be picked up by audio sources like this.
So we want a control, that's what this is going to be here. We have no foam applied to any of the walls or the ceiling at this point, and we're using a shotgun mic recording from about 3 feet away. So you'll be able to compare this to the after clip where hopefully less echo is picked up. And this is a test of the shotgun microphone from again about 3 feet away with the sound damping foam installed mostly on the ceiling, and then we have 2 panels off to the left. It's really the only blank space I had in the office, so I can definitely tell a difference. I know Nate, we didn't even talk about this, Nate, but it's like night and day compared to how echoey it was in here before, because the ceiling usually is the space that gets neglected when it comes to soundproofing a room. Soundproofing is really the incorrect term. You're damping the sound to reduce echo and reverb, but it's noticeable. I really hope it's noticeable on camera because I can certainly hear a difference just standing in here talking. So I hope you have enjoyed this little behind the scenes studio tour setup video. You can see from scratch when this house was first built. Actually, we built this ourselves, not with our bare hands, but we built it kind of to spec what we wanted. We got to see it being built from the ground up, and that was a really cool experience. And I was just kind of brainstorming while this room was just 2x4s, while there were just studs, no drywall or anything up. I was trying to imagine what I was going to do with this space, because it's much more space than I've ever had before, and a space that I could call my own. And I've only rented to this point, so technically those spaces weren't my own. But this is our house, our first house we've been able to buy, and I'm excited to see how this evolves in the future, because if there's one thing that you need to know about me, it's that I'm never really content with what I have, and I always want to change things. So in the future, maybe more videos like this. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. Consider subscribing. Give this video a thumbs up. I appreciate all of that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. My name's Greg. Thanks for damping sound with me and painting walls and hanging lights from ceilings. We did a lot in this video.